Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 12th. And this morning's topic is about the decline of education. Not the quality decline, but the physical decline. College enrollment has dropped more in the last 2 years than in any period in our history. This plunge in enrollment is the worst ever recorded. You heard that correctly, the worst ever recorded. And why? Well, the pandemic had a lot to do with it. And the fact that many who weren't allowed to go to class anymore found online learning a distraction almost. And so when they finally graduated by some way, shape, or form, they realized that the time they had spent at home attending online classes had given them the opportunity to seek work while they were doing their online classes. And many of them found jobs that were comfortable and that had a future in them, that they could work and gain experience in a field that wasn't even taught in high school. And so many of them didn't bother going back and looked at this as a cost savings. Here they were making a decent dollar. Now many of them recognize the fact that that decent dollar now will not be decent later on. So they do have plans to do something. But right now, they're concentrating on making a living and learning a skill as opposed to spending time and money. Money is a big factor when you're considering the cost of tuition. The result of this was that undergraduate college enrollment nationwide dropped 8% from 2019 to 2022. And that happened even after returning to in-person classes. Now that's according to the data gathered from the National Student Clearinghouse. But the slide in college-going rates since 2018 is, as I said before, the steepest on record. And that's a serious problem. Even though these kids have decided that they can make a decent living, it is going to provide a shortage in this nation of certain educational things that cannot be learned in the workplace. You need to have an education for many skills that are required to run this country. An economist feels that the impact of this generation opting out will have dire consequences on the rest of this country. And it may mean that the new generation has little faith in the value of a college degree. And that could affect the ongoing future thinking of several generations in this country. And it looks like those who passed on college during the pandemic are not considering returning to school. They have this idea, as I mentioned before, that they can get ahead in the world without a college education. Even predictions that said after a year or two these people would return have not come true. And of course what we have, if you recognize the facts, the statistics associated with what I'm saying, if we have less college graduates, that will definitely worsen the labor shortages in fields like healthcare and information technology, because those are fields that you need a college education. More than a college education in many of those fields. Master's degrees, medical school, that type of thing. And I don't know that this generation is really looking that far into the future. Because if you don't get a degree and get into one of these higher paid fields, it means that your lifetime earnings will be considerably less than those who have completed degree requirements. Probably up to 75% less than a college graduate. That's a significant amount of money. And I can tell you from my personal experience that I was lucky enough to recognize this fact after I tried to go to work for 3 years before I went back to college. And I worked for 10 years while getting my degree. And then I was lucky enough to get into the information technology field and get my master's degree from Baruch College in the first class of computer science graduates. So I can tell you from personal experience that college bailed me out. Even though I had a chance to make good money on a job, it was nothing like the money I made going to college and getting into the technology field. Now, maybe that was just pure luck that I hit the right field at the right time. But I changed many jobs during my career. Many different places I worked in the field, moving up and down, eventually owning a company, etc. But I don't want to talk to you about my history. I want to tell you that this shortage of college graduates is going to haunt this country at some point in the future. And one important aspect that I noticed about reading this article was the thinking process of these people who were contributing information to the article. While they were concerned with the fact that they had found a decent job without a college education, they have missed a large portion of what a college education really means. College education is not necessarily to provide you with a skill set to help you get a better job. It provides you with the ability to think, the ability to analyze, the ability to recognize what's going on around you. Because you will be exposed to many different criteria on what makes life important if you are in college. So it's not about making lots of money, but it's about ways to make a better life and ways to improve on what's going on in the world. Because a college education is not necessarily job training. It's thinking training. The ability to analyze situations that you come across that have nothing to do with making a living, but have to do with the quality of life on earth. So that's the one thing that this article and these articles are missing when they talk about children, adults, young adults who have gone into the workforce without getting a college education. And how well they're doing because they picked up a particular skill set. But the ability to think, the ability to recognize fact, the ability to do analysis is critical. And that's what they're missing because they haven't gotten that experience by avoiding college. So while they're out there in the workforce making some kind of money, many of them should consider going back to school on a part-time basis. You know, if you want to get ahead in life, sometimes you have to be the boss. And if you want to be a boss, you have to know a lot more than technical skills. Managing people is not an easy job. So I leave you with that. Missing out on college is not a great thing. Have a great day. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.